Today's video is sponsored by Squarespace.com. Visit squarespace.com/Brendan Vanson for more details. It is potentially day 4 here in the Arctic, but honestly, I don't know. Do you have cell signal?
No.
Have you seen a sunset?
No.
We have no idea what day it is because we're just following the advice of everybody who's telling us when to sleep, when to eat, and that it's day 4 here in Svalbard. And yeah, we're heading out exploring. We've seen some stuff already, but we're hoping to finally see polar bears.
You go ahead, dude.
Do you think we're gonna see polar bears, Neil?
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
We're going crazy. We're going crazy. Okay, so this landing's kind of awesome. Moody weather, crazy, kind of clouds above everything, birds everywhere, and there's 2 or 3 reindeer just near us. So I'm with the 100 to 400 millimeter, and I'm literally just laying amongst reindeer poo. There's reindeer poo everywhere, and I'm just hanging out, and just I'm not moving. I'm literally just laying here, waiting and hoping that the reindeer walk into a decent frame, and I think it's gonna work, and this is kind of awesome. Reindeer photography, not polar bears yet, but reindeer photography will do for me. I'm pretty much happy with anything. With landscapes, creating depth is fairly easy: foreground, midground, and background. With wildlife, it's more tricky, so I like to find something in the foreground to create a bit of bokeh. Laying down in the reindeer poo helps with that. And there are a couple images here I quite like, even if it's nothing outstanding. So it's no secret that I'm not a bird photographer, but I do love photographing birds. I'm just not very good at it. But here on this cliffside we're on, I don't know if this is scree slope or just rock slide slope, and there's all these mating birds running along, basically along the side of these rocks, and for about 30 minutes, 45 minutes, I've been just sitting trying to get photographs of them doing something cool, flying or something, and I don't think I've gotten anything, but I've really enjoyed it. So many people in wildlife photography love running around trying to capture things. I'm a big fan of finding somewhere, sitting, observing, and almost wishing for the best, and oftentimes I think you get better photos that way anyway, and maybe you have a better experience regardless. So it's been a lot of fun, but still no polar bears. The birds bounced around, and I did manage a couple average portrait-like images of them. I also tried to incorporate them into the landscape, but I can't really decide how I feel about it. Then, I just went wandering around this beautiful space, not taking images, but just taking in the incredible landscapes. Afterwards, we returned to the ship for a cozy night's sleep and to continue our journey south. Until plans changed. So behind me, that's Longyearbyen, and that's because at about 12:30 at night last night, I got a door knock from Ryan, the expedition leader, saying there was a problem with one of our engines and we needed to come in for repairs. So we're stuck in port today, but we're not stuck in port today because we're still gonna go off and do stuff. We're in Zodiacs now, and we're gonna cruise to some valley where there's potentially reindeer and Arctic fox. So making the most of it, even if there's not polar bears. Okay, so we are in this valley kind of just beyond Longyearbyen, and it's awesome. It really is. It's so beautiful here, and it's really cool, and there's these meandering rivers that I've just walked across this rocky terrain, and you're surrounded by these hills that are partly covered in snow. There's reindeer around. It's absolutely awesome, and we're definitely making the most of our, you know, not mishaps, but our down day because of engine failures. That being said, there's always the difference between a photogenic place and a beautiful place, and this is a beautiful place. I'm not quite sure that there's a photo here, at least for me. It's definitely one of those places. Beautiful, yes, but difficult to photograph. But I did really enjoy wandering around. I also enjoyed imagining what life would be like here in Longyearbyen year-round. Life out in these cabins, surrounded by wild weather, wildlife, and not a whole lot else. Whew. So luckily it was a pretty quick fix, and actually after spending the day in Longyearbyen, we got underway again yesterday evening, just after dinner time. Spent the whole night sailing, and we're now at the farther northwesternmost part of Svalbard, and it looks like it's going to be awesome up here. So I'm really excited. We're about to cut through a pretty narrow passage, apparently, into some calmer waters, where again, hopefully there's some walrus. I'd love some polar bears though. Would love some polar bears, but there's walrus, which are also pretty damn cool. After our day of misadventure, reaching the north is exciting. And as we're told, this is where Svalbard magic really shows itself. We set off in Zodiacs and spotted a couple seals balancing on rocks trying to stay dry. I love how they camouflage so perfectly with the landscape. Then, we floated over to see if we could find some giant blobs of fat and teeth. I'm keeping my voice quiet because we've just made landing, and there's actually about 4 or so walrus just up here, and we're kind of just creeping up towards them to hopefully get some photos. They are so big, it's ridiculous. So, no, we haven't seen polar bears yet, but these walrus are freaking cool. So I've got my 100 to 400. It's drizzling rain. We're all soaking wet, but this is perfect. This is so much fun. So yeah, I'm gonna creep up to the walrus, safe distance, make sure the walrus are comfortable. A comfortable model is always a better model, and hopefully come up with a photo or two. Right away, I spotted a big male walrus fishing. And occasionally, he would pop up with the travel perfect backdrop of our journey behind him. Then, over on land, there was a beautiful blob of walrus. Oh, and for the record, I don't care what the collective noun of a group of walrus used to be called. It's called a blob from now on. So as we waddled closer to the blob, we eventually got to a great distance for images like this. So we got rained on pretty good. We all got back here pretty wet, to be honest. It's still drizzling a bit, but not so bad. But regardless of the weather and the lack of polar bears, it's been awesome today, and you know, every day in Svalbard. So we are going to continue our journey tomorrow, but I'm gonna leave you guys there. So hopefully the next episode is a polar bear episode. Peace. Let me tell you quickly about today's sponsor. Squarespace is an amazing place for photographers and bloggers to build a really professional looking website really quickly and easily. It has a lot of templates that make it simple to get started. You have great resources too, like members only areas, easy to build stores for selling arts and even services, Of course, there's also lots of other great tools for creators such as a logo maker and in-depth analytics. So if you're looking for a photography website or portfolio, head to squarespace.com/BrendanVanson for a 10% discount on your first purchase. Link in the description.